Most people think starting a food business requires lawyers, consultants, and stacks of paperwork. But when I started my ice cream company, I noticed something surprising. Most of the licenses and permits you need are just online forms. No lawyer, no expensive consultant, just a checklist. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through every license and permit I needed to open my ice cream company, Fabled Ice Cream. And there was one requirement that was quite surprising to me, but I'll get to that later in the video. If you're new here, I'm Allie Kirkpatrick. I own 2 bookstores and I'm starting my first food business, Fabled Ice Cream. Here on YouTube, I'm documenting the process of starting the business from scratch, the good, the messy, and the in-between. So if you're curious about starting a creative small business or a food business, you're in the right place. Step 1, the basic business setup. Before you even think about food permits, you need the basic business paperwork that every small business needs. First is forming a business entity. Most people choose an LLC. It's simple and it protects your personal assets. In most states, you can do this entirely online. You choose the business name and you file the articles of organization. You pay a filing fee and you're done. The next step is getting an EIN, which is basically a social security number for your business. You'll use that EIN to open bank accounts, pay taxes, and eventually hire your first employees. Step 2, registering for sales tax. If you're selling ice cream like me, you're selling a product, which means that you need to collect sales tax. So you'll need to register with your state's sales tax department to get a sales tax account. This allows you to collect sales tax from the customer and pass it through to the state. It sounds intimidating, but again, it's just an online form. Step 3, food safety certification. Most food businesses require food safety certification. This makes sure that you know about all things food safety, temperature control, cross-contamination, food storage, all sorts of things. You can take the course online from a number of companies like ServSafe, and then you take an online proctored exam. Step 4, ice cream specific permits, the confusing part. This is where things started to get a little confusing for me, because the permit you need depends on how you're selling the ice cream. If you're manufacturing your own ice cream to sell retail, you need a manufacturing permit. Then, if you're scooping that ice cream, you need a food service permit. Another thing that surprised me is in many states, ice cream is monitored by the agricultural department, not the local health department. So in Virginia, that's VDACS, the Virginia Department of Agricultural Services. So just keep that in mind. Instead of working with your local health department for ice cream, you might be working with your state agricultural department. They'll oversee things like manufacturing permits, labeling, and inspections. So definitely be sure to check your state's regulations before this step. One of the biggest operational challenges we had this past summer was actually something really simple, a hand wash sink. Because we were scooping ice cream from a cart, we were required to have an on-site hand washing sink set up. Even though we were wearing gloves and not touching the ice cream, it was still required in my state that I have a hand wash sink available. So I ended up purchasing a mobile hand wash sink, and technically it solved the problem. But in practical ways, it was very clunky. It's heavy, it takes up a lot of space, and it adds just one more thing you have to transport and set up. So this season, we're making a small pivot. Instead of primarily scooping ice cream from the cart, we're selling prepackaged pints in individual 5-ounce servings. When your product is fully packaged in seals, there are different rules because you're not actively serving food. But our containers will have a spoon in the lid, which makes it easy to still sell out of the cart at farmers markets and events. So consider this your friendly reminder that with small businesses, you need to get comfortable creatively pivoting. Step 5, insurance and vendor permits. There are a couple other things you'll likely need. You'll need general liability insurance, especially if you're selling at markets and events. Most farmers markets require that vendors have insurance. And if you're selling at a market, that means that you're applying to specific markets and meeting their requirements. And each market has its own application process and rules. There are lots of insurance options out there, but I personally use and like the FLIP program, Food Liability Insurance Program. The big takeaway is that starting a food business isn't just navigating a huge bureaucracy. It's about understanding the system, breaking it up into steps, and taking it bit by bit. Most of the things I just talked about took a matter of minutes to apply for. So if you're dreaming of starting a food business, don't let the paperwork stop you. It's a lot more doable than most people think. If you want to see more about how I'm building this ice cream company from scratch, follow along. I'm documenting the entire journey on this channel. And if you're curious about how I funded this small business, I made a video about that too. Check it out. See you next time.